Hello students, Jai Swaminarayan. I am Urvish Nevada, Assistant Professor, Electrical Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Bhat, Gandhinagar. I am subject matter of testing and commissioning of electrical equipment, and GTU subject code of this subject is 2180901. I am welcoming all who are listening me through this platform for this subject. Students, we are currently discussing the chapter number 2, that is installation of electrical equipment, and this is our lecture number 4. In last lecture, lecture number 3, we have discussed in detail the inspection, storage and handling of switchgear. Also we have discussed the installation of switchgear. In inspection portion we have discussed in detail that while we have received the switchgear after transit, what are the inspection, what type of inspection that we need to perform, and the necessary step that we should take, that we should take if the product that we received is damaged, and we need and what the safety precaution that we need to keep while the unloading our switch gear after the transit. And then after we have then after we have discussed that the storage of the switch gear, how to store the switch gear if we need to use after we need to use it after certain days of the of we receive the switch gear at the premises. So proper storage schemes that we should employ for the switch gear according to the type of the instrument. And then we have discussed the handling, how to handle the device, how to properly handle the device for a better operation of the device in future. And then after we have discussed the installation, whole installation process, and the points that we should keep in mind while we are installing our switchgear at the premises, that we have discussed in the lecture number 3 4. So this is our lecture number in last lecture number 3, I'm sorry, this is our lecture number 4, and in which we are going to discuss the topic number 4, that is inspection, storage and handling of induction motor. So in GTU this type of question can be asked in your exam. So inspection, storage and handling of the transformer, inspection, storage and handling of the switch gear, and in inspection, storage and handling of the induction motor. So any of the question can be asked for the inspection, storage and handling purpose. So this is again an important point for your exam point of view. So let us discuss how inspection, storage and handling of the motor can be carried out. So let us discuss the inspection, storage and handling of the induction motor. So first of all, start with the inspection. So we are repeating the same step for the same instrument, for all the instrument. So that you have to that you can repeatedly write in your exam also. So keep in mind the process of inspection, storage and handling of each of the devices. So normally the induction motor and its control equipments are displayed separately, that we have already discussed in switchgear also. All the delicate parts should be displayed separately, so that there will be no wear and tear of that those such delicate accessories that we mount on the device. And then inspection should be made on arrival of equipment, and check that there is no part is lost during the transit. And also we need to check the damages, we need to take an overview of the product we from the outer side, that whether it is damaged or any parts during transit is lost, that we need to check. Then next is the storage. So what type of precaution that we need to take while we are storing our motor for the further use. So motor should be stored in dry clean place with sufficient circulation of the air. So these are the necessary factors for proper storage of any device. So yes, air must be dry. So if air is having moisture, means or air is of air is moist, then moisture can be enter inside the machine, and it can harm the insulation of the machine. And clean place with sufficient circulation of air. So if air circulation is proper, so there will be no chances of other contamination should entered inside the motor. If the motor has to be installed after some period of its arrival, or once we receive the machine, we need to take a proper handle with care while we are storing the motor for the future use. So it should be protected from the moisture, acid, alkali, oil, gas. These are the harmful parameters, factors for the machine. So yes, we need to isolate our machine from the acid, alkalis, oil, gas, dust, etc. And during storage, installation, and the working life, so this will harm your machine performance than working life. So yes, we need to isolate, or we need to keep our we need to store our device, so that this factors cannot harm our machine. And proper greasing is applied when it is used after a long storage. So yes, we are talking about motor. So motor is having moving parts. So before we take our machine for an operation, a proper greasing should be applied at the on the moving portion or moving part of the machine for the better operation. Then anti-rust coating is applied. So yes, rust cannot be accumulate on the surface of the machine, as well as it will not enter inside the machine. So it is properly insulated from the air. So yes, anti-rust coating is applied on the machine parts, so that so that the dust will not get accumulate on the surface of the machine, and it should be checked periodically. So yes, this is all about the periodic part of the periodical maintenance. So yes, we have to keep our machine, we have to isolate our machine from such contamination that can harm our machine. Now, in the storage, inspection, storage, and handling of the induction motor, the next point is handling. So how we are handling, how we can handle our machine for its better performance. So the precautions that should be taken, which are discussed over here in this slide. So lifted up with the help of lifting hook only. So yes, on the top of the induction motor, the lifting hook is provided to lift the machine, because it is a part of we can say proper loading and unloading of the machine. So if it is not properly carried out, then we can then machine can be damaged. So yes, we need to lift our machine from the lifting hook only. Then extension of the shaft should not be used for dragging the motor. So yes, we cannot use extension of the shaft to drag the motor. That can harm the alignment of our machine. Then also the bearing will get worn if we use an extension of the shaft for the dragging. Then motor should not roll on the floor. Yes, it is obvious that if we roll our motor on the floor, then the uneven vibration and on the surface, according to the surface, we can say the outer surface of the machine can be damaged. Also due to the vibration, the inner part of the machine may be damaged. So we cannot, this is the point where we need to keep a proper safety of the machine. So we cannot roll the machine. We need to transit and install according to the given instruction from the manufacturer. And we need to provide proper handle with care while we are installing our device at the premises. Then the next point that we should keep in mind, that it should not be kept in vertical position, keeping the cover for the fan cooled motor at the bottom. So these are the accessories which are needed. So this will protect our machine from the future damage. Then avoid jerks to prolong the life of the bearing. So yes, if during transit the unwanted jerks can harm our machine alignment and the moving parts of the machine, and also it can harm the winding of the machine from the we can say inner side of the device. Then the next portion that we should keep in mind for the installation of the induction motor, that first point is safety. So yes, rotating parts covered by metal guard to prevent from the accident. So yes, a person who is near to the machine at the time of operation, the machine should be protected, the rotating part should be protected from the with a proper enclosure, so one cannot harm while they operate the machine at the premises. Then it must be enclosed as per the factory act. So according to the factory act and Indian standard, it must be closed. It the parts of the machine should not be open in air, so that we can protect our machine from the future damage. The second point that we should keep in mind while we are installing our induction motor, that is location. So yes, sufficient air circulation and around the current carrying parts. So yes, as the motor is having a conducting parts inside the machine, and while we increase the load on the machine, the circulation of the current will increase, and so that the winding of the machine will get heated up. And if there is no circulation, is proper circulation is provided for the ventilation, then that can permanently harm our machine. So a sufficient air circulation and circulation is necessary surrounding to the current carrying part. It should be protected from the water, moisture, corrosive liquid, oil, steam, carbon, metallic dust, etc. These are the factors that we have discussed in earlier slide. These are very dangerous for the operation of the induction motor. So we need to protect our machine from the moisture as well as the corrosive liquid and the falling of the oil, also steam, carbon, and metallic dust, etc. So this can harm the performance of the machine. That's why we need to protect our machine from such contaminations. Then working part should be accessible. Yes, for this is for the future maintenance purpose. So yes, working part should be accessible, and so that we can perform future maintenance if it is necessary. Also maintenance can be done easily if these parts are accessible. So this is again a most important point for the location point of view. Then next is flame proof motor should be installed. So yes, industries are dealing with so many hazardous things like acids and fire. So yes, the outer case or the design of the machine, it should be like it is flame proof, so that we can harm the future damage and accident of the person who is working near the device. Then the next point that we should keep in mind is controlling parts operating at high temperature should be installed away from the wood and inflammable materials. So yes, if the temperature rises beyond its limit, then there will be a chances of fire. So we need to we have to keep our device far from the inflammable materials and woods. Suppose they are near to our device, then there will be a chances of fire. So yes, this is again a most important point for location point of view. Then keep fire extinguisher handy, so that if the fire will be there, then we can extinguish that fire quickly. So necessary fire extinguisher and the material that we use for the fire extinguisher, it should keep handy, so that we can avoid the future danger. Then the next point related to the installation of the induction motor, that is foundation and the leveling. So this is again a most important point for the better performance of the machine and for the better power transformation of the machine, because generally in the case of electrical motors, we couple our electrical motor shaft with the driven mechanism. Generally we give electrical supply to the electrical motor, and that will give a mechanical output. So that mechanical output we use to drive other mechanisms. So for that, a proper alignment and proper foundation is necessary, so that we can do a proper alignment to transit the maximum power from driving mechanism to the driven mechanism. So we use concrete for foundation, and it should be done with a proper standards, Indian standards. Then foundation should be cured completely. So yes, it is cured from the future, we can say, damage, considering for the future damage. Then wooden template should be used, so that the mortar can be placed easily over the foundation, so that we can avoid the breakage of, or we can say breaking up the foundation. While we use sliding the to slide the machine, we use wood, so it will easily slide on that surface. So generally we use wooden templates, and we can avoid the damage of the foundation and the bolts which are mounted on the plinth without any difficulty. Then angle bracket should be used when the motor has to be hung upside down from the ceiling. So this is the important point according to the requirement of the installation. So this is we should keep in mind where while we need to install our motor differently. Then the next point that we should keep in mind, that is insulation resistance and the drying out. So yes, before we take our machine for the operation, we need to check the insulation resistance of the winding and all electrical means current carrying parts. And insulation resistance decrease due to the absorption of the moisture. So yes, we need to perform a proper drying out process before we use our machine for the operation. By the yes, absorption of the moisture by the insulation, and when motor remain unused in the storage or during transit. So yes, we need to check this absorption of the moisture uh, before we take our machine for the operation. Then motor should be dried by standard procedure. So as per the electrical standard and the Indian standard, we should take the necessary steps for the drying out of the machine from the moisture. And when the insulation resistance falls below 1 mega ohm per kV, we should perform a drying out process of the machine, because as the insulation resistance reduced below the 1 mega ohm, then it is we can say it is already absorbed the moisture from the surrounding atmosphere. So its insulation resistance will become degraded. So we need to perform the drying out process for to achieve a required insulation level of the conductors and the current carrying parts that we have used inside the machine. Then the next point is alignment. So alignment is necessary to transit the power from the driving mechanism to driven mechanism, to transit the maximum power from the driving mechanism to the driven mechanism. So alignment is necessary, and also alignment is necessary for the future power wastage. So yes, first the driven shaft is level, and then the motor shaft is level. So this is the proper way of leveling of the mechanisms. And for different driving methods, for different driving methods, the different methods are employed for the from the alignment. So direct couple drive, basically we are having this coupling in industry, direct coupling. So first both the shafts are aligned, and if the driven shaft is at the lower level, then the motor is brought down by cutting the concrete underneath the motor. So this is the process of leveling, and we are having certain devices, from that we can check an alignment of the machine. We are having spirit level, or we can say laser leveling machine. Nowadays generally we are using laser leveling machine. We match the laser lights, and if the laser lights match to each other, then it is called a proper leveling of the machine. So yes, these are the steps that we should carry out for different couple drives. So this is for the direct couple drive. And if the shaft motor is at lower level, then motor is raised by inserting the packing. So here we can insert a packing of gasket as well as the metal strips also, and packing should be inserted near the foundation bolt so that it will not get worn out in future. The reading of the coupling gap are taken at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock we take the reading. This is the vertical alignment, and then after the bolt of the couplings are rotated by 180, and the reading are taken for the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock position. So this is a trial and error method. Once you receive a proper alignment, then the alignment in vertical plane is all right by checking this 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. If the difference in two reading is 0, so yes, when we get a difference between two reading is 0, the vertical alignment is proper in this case. And for the horizontal alignment, we need to put our like bolts at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock position for 0 degree and 180 degree position. And if the difference in the reading is 0, then alignment of horizontal plane is also all right. So this is how we can do the alignment of the machine, and why it is necessary for the mechanical point of view, civil point of view, and electrical point of view. For the mechanical point of view, if alignment is improper, then bearing will get worn out, and uneven pull will generate in the rotation for the mechanical point of view. And for the civil point of view, due to the say unexcessive vibrations, the length of the foundation will get broken out. And for electrical point of view, the proper power will not get transit from driving mechanism to the driven mechanism, and so that the electrical power will also get wasted. So the next is for the centering of the shaft. So check the centering of the shaft should be also made using the clock gauge. And if we have used the chain drive, then both the shafts should be in parallel in chain drive, and running of the chain should be done through the middle of the groove, so that we will not get any like slipping of the chain from the pulley. So tooth of the sprocket should be in middle of the groove, that we should ensure to protect our machine from the future wear and tear. And otherwise the life of the chain will reduce, that we know already. We have already seen that for our cycle, the groove and the place where the means the chain in the we are having a spaces, the groove is exactly on this in that space, so that we can increase the life of the chain mechanism. So yes, otherwise if it is not proper like mentioned over here, then life of the chain will reduce, and the end thrust causes caused on the motor, and again because of that motor will get vibrated. So chain should not be tight, otherwise vibrations are produced. And self oil arrangement via oil sump and pump facilities will be there, so that we can provide proper lubrication in the moving parts of the machine, of the driving mechanism. So the next is gear drive. So if gear drive is used, alignment is also important in the case of in the case of gear drive. Both the wheels should be in parallel, so that proper operation of the gear drive can be received, and gear wheel should be properly matched. Otherwise if it is not properly matched, then there will be a worn out of the teeth of the gears. And next is flexible coupling drive. So if flexible coupling drive is there, then in this also accurate alignment should be made, similar to the solid coupling drive. So improper alignment causes damage to the bearing and shaft, that we already discussed. If the alignment is not there, then worn out of the bearing will be there. Also the foundation will get broken. Then the belt drive, for belt drive, in the case of belt drive, slack side of the belt should be on the upper side of the bolt of the belt. Otherwise we will have a frequent sliding of the belt, and power will get wasted. And belt should not be over tight, so to avoid the unwanted slipping of the belt. As far as possible, the vertical drive should be used, so that we can avoid the slipping of the belt from the pulley. So yes, this is the topic for the inspection, storage and handling of the induction motor. Also we have discussed the installation of the induction motor, what precaution that we should keep in mind while we are installing the induction motor. So this is the lecture number 4, and this is your topic number 5. So lifting devices for loading and unloading. So the devices that we use for the lifting, this is the extra topic that we are discussing over here. This is not an important, but we should have a proper awareness of this devices, so that we can perform certain loading and unloading with proper standards. So let us discuss the devices that we use for loading and unloading of the machine at the premises. So lifting devices for loading and unloading. So first of all, that we use a rope and a rope pulley block. So let us start with the first, that is rope pulley block. So yes, this is a rope pulley block. This is used for light or heavy equipments. It is used up to 250 kg weight, and it is shown in this diagram. You can see that this is your rope pulley block. This is on the pulley we are having a rope, and this is a hook on which we can hang our device that we need to transport or transit with the help of this mechanism. So this will become very easy to lift the device with the help of rope, because we are having a pulley that will help you to lift up the device easily. Now next is chain pulley blow. So yes, chain pulley block that we use is this is the printing mistake I have made. This is chain pulley block, I'm sorry. So chain pulley block is like look like this. So equipment of say 1 ton can be lifted up by this mechanism, and its efficiency is more than the rope pulley block, because this will be very easy to this will become very easy to lift any device with the help of this mechanism. And its sketch is shown in this diagram. You can see easily the diagram of the chain pulley block. The next is the power cabin, or we can say power chain pulley block. So this is having a power cabin. So yes, electrical motor is provided over here. So in this type of chain pulley block, the equipment is lifted by using a electric motor. So this is quicker than the hand operated chain pulley block, and the lift move, and we can lift and move the weight easily. So this is shown in this diagram. So you can see and you can imagine the you can actually imagine the device how it would be useful, because in these two cases it is human operated, or means manually operated, and this is an say motor operated. So this will become very quick, so we can move a device after lifting in both the axis with the help of this device. So generally this type of device we use in a crane in the industries. So next is the shear legs. So basically shear legs are look like this. These are the shear legs. So this is one type of tripod, and the hook is say fitted on the upper side of the of this device, and chain pulley block is fitted to the hook. So chain pulley device is fitted on the hook, and this is available in different heights and different capacities. So according to our capacity, we can select our shear legs for the lifting of the devices, and it is necessary to know the safe working load of the shear legs before making a use of it. Otherwise it will there will be a chances of an accident while we lift any device with the help of this shear leg. And all the three legs should be tied with the help of chain, so that the leg cannot be skid while we lift a heavy device or heavy instrument with the help of this shear leg. So this is the other device for the lifting of the instrument. Then fifth is slings. So basically slings we are used to tie the instrument, or we can say the device, the things that we want to lift. So wrong and right method of tying the sling. So this is the wrong method and this is the right method to tie the sling. So generally slings we use in this shear legs type, or we can say any of the device for the lifting. So this is all about the sling. And then we are having the snatch block. So snatch block basically we use is used to control the direction of movement. It is not shown over here in the diagram of a load which is being moved. So we can move this lifted device in both the direction according to our requirement. So this is this are the devices, lifting devices, that we use for the to lift any material with the help of uh, this uh, this mechanisms. So after this topic you are having an assignment question. So this was the last topic of this chapter. Here we have completed the chapter number 2. So the assignment question after the completion of your chapter is: explain the procedure of alignment of electrical machine. This is the most important question from the chapter. Then explain inspection, handling, storage, and inspection, handling, storage, and installation of transformer. Over here I made a printing mistake. Installation of the transformer in detail. Again, explain inspection, handling, storage, and installation of the induction motor in detail. So these are your assignment question. The instructions which are related to the assignment question is written below the assignment question. Please read it carefully. You can take the snap of this slide also. And if you have any query or doubt related to this topic, feel free to call me, and we can solve your queries and doubts in our doubt solving session. So for that, thank you very much student. Here we have finished the 2 chapters of testing and commissioning of electrical equipment. So please go through the lecture, and if any queries arise, please contact me. Thank you very much student. Thank you all. Jai Swaminarayan.